The region of Crimea where the city of Donetsk is located was only given to Ukraine in 1954 by then leader of the Soviet Union Nikita Khrushchev. When the Soviet Union fell in the early 1990s and Ukraine gained independence like the surrounding parts of the former Soviet Union, Ukraine was carved up between the oligarchs and mob groups, putting the country's natural resources into the hands of a select corrupt few. A man by the name of Arhat Bragin was born in Donetsk in 1953, and he would take control over large parts of the country's mineral resources in the east, and he was one of the most feared and powerful men in all of eastern Ukraine. He was also a fanatical football fan and the owner of Shakthar Donetsk. But before I go any further, for cheap good quality football jerseys, retro jerseys and tracksuits, go over to www.jerseyfever.com. I myself have bought a number of different jerseys from Jersey Fever, including this 2003-2004 Manchester United shirt with Ronaldo on the back, and this one's probably my favourite. So if you want a shirt like this, be sure to click the link in the description below and use code ATLANTISFOOTBALL with a space to get 5% off. In 1994, Bragin narrowly escaped an assassination attempt when a group of bandits from a rival gang opened fire on Bragin's pigeon coop whilst Bragin was visiting his birds. However, Bragin managed to survive the attack, but he wasn't so lucky a year later. He died in a bomb attack on Sunday the 15th of October in 1995 at Shakthar Stadium in Donetsk. And it was no random event, it was a targeted attack against Bragin after complicating business dealings between rival gangsters. After their president's death, Shakthar was taken over by Rangnick Akhmetov, a 29-year-old businessman who had made his money trading coal and cocaine, before diversifying his wealth into media and real estate, whilst also controlling many sea mills and coal mines in eastern Ukraine. Akhmetov was determined to topple Dynamo Kiev, who were the dominant force in Ukrainian football at the time, with Shakhtar not winning a single Ukrainian First League title up until that point. And in 2001-2002, Shakhtar would win their first league title, but it was in 2004 when the catalyst for their radical change would come about. Akhmetov laid out plans for a long-term strategy, bringing in CEO Sergei Palkin to oversee the project. Shakhtar had signed Brazilian forward Brandão in 2002, but in 2004 Akhmetov would appoint the man who would radically change both Shakhtar and Ukrainian football. Mircea Lucescu had been in management for 25 years at that point, managing Brescia from 91 to 96, Inter Milan from 98 to 99, before going on to win back-to-back Turkish Liga titles with Galatasaray in 2002 and then Besiktas in 2003. Lucescu had been an admirer of Brazilian football for many years, having captaining Romania against the great 1970 Brazilian side in the World Cup of that year, and a year after Lucescu would visit Brazil on tour with Dynamo Kiev, playing against Fluminense, the club with which Lucescu would fall in love with and subsequently become a supporter of. Lucescu loved the way Brazilians played the game, and in Ukraine at the time they were known for producing good defenders and defensive midfielders, but lacked the creativity in attack, and the Brazilians had that in abundance. Lucescu and Shakhtar would marry the two, starting to bring in Brazilians into the squad, with their Brazilian signing, who was signed before Lucescu's appointment, ending up being Lucescu's key man in his first season, as they won the 2004-2005 league title. I am also going to be releasing a video on the man who inspired Rangnick, and he was at Dynamo Kiev, so if you do want to see that video, it should be linked in the description below when it does come out. If not, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you do get notified when it does eventually come out. Lucescu had a contact in Brazil who was an agent and a scout by the name of Frank Henuda, who had started bringing Brazilians to Europe in the early 2000s, helping Lucescu and Galatasaray beat PSG to the signature of Brazilian keeper Claudio Taffarel. In Lucescu's first season, Shakhtar would bring in Matizalem to the club for $15 million, Alano for $8 million and Jadson for $5 million, while Batista and Ivan would also join. The season after, in 2005, Fernandinho would join from Atletico Paranaense for $8 million, with Luis Adriano in 2006 joining, with Willian Anilzinho in 2007 and Marcelo Moreno in 2008. Shakhtar had a clear plan. They knew they couldn't compete with the teams in the Big Five leagues for elite European youngsters, so would instead look to focus on the Brazilian market. They had strong on-the-ground ties in Brazil and had begun training ground renovations. Lucescu and Henuda had the job of convincing young Brazilians of the project by showing them that they would have a clear path to shine on the European stage, at a club that would be tailor-suited to young Brazilian players. They would also be receiving significantly higher salaries than they otherwise would be in Brazil, because of a rule in Ukraine that limits each team to only 7 international players being on the pitch at one point. Shakhtar would usually deploy a Ukrainian back five, with the Brazilians being brought in mostly as attackers or central midfielders. By 2008, Lucescu and Shakhtar had picked up 3 out of 4 Ukrainian league titles, ending Dynamo Kiev's dominance, and the crowning jewel in the Brazilian project would be in 2009, when Shakhtar would beat Kiev over 2 legs in the UEFA Cup semi-finals, before beating Werder Bremen 2-1 in the final, with 5 Brazilians on the pitch: Fernandinho, Jadson, Willian, Ilsinho and Luis Adriano, with Jadson scoring the winner in extra time. In the summer of 2009, Douglas Costa and Alex Teixeira would be brought in, with the influx continuing over the next decade, and still to this day Shakhtar have continued their Brazilian production line, with no less than 11 Brazilians in their first team squad today. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that video, remember to subscribe to the channel, check out some of my other videos linked in the description below, and click the bell so you do get notified when my videos come out.